Hello, welcome to Unified Infrastructure Management or UIM Logmon Probe Training for Administrators. In this video, we will be covering one of the use case examples in detail. In this second use case, we will use Regex to match the path and file name as we want to use a single profile in Logmon to monitor multiple database instance log files that reside in different directories and have different names but do have a similar naming convention. We will then set up a format block to capture multiple lines of information, which will treat them as a single section. Next, we will set up a string match to generate the alarm information that we're looking for, and we will then set up a variable to display the dynamic information in the alarm. We can see in this example that we have multiple database instances log directories we will be working with, and the file names that are different but follow a naming convention. As in the first use case example, I've created a test log file that we will use for the creation of our profile with known information in it before changing the profile in the final steps to monitor all of the log files in the multiple directories. In this slide, we can see I've created a profile called Database Logs. I have set the mode for cat, which will read the full file from the beginning of each polling cycle so that I can test my profile. I have set the file location for testing to my test log. I will change the file location to a regular expression format as one of my last steps in the profile setup. I have set the check interval for every 10 seconds for my test so that I do not have to wait long for my results. In this case, we will not be collecting QoS, so this option has not been enabled. We will want this profile to generate alarms, so we have checked the option for this. The alarm for missing files does not work when you're monitoring multiple directories and files like we are in this use case, so this option will not be checked. Here we have created a format rule that will specify the matching regular expression that will tell the probe where the information block starts, and then an ending regular expression to match when the block ends. In our log samples, the block length is variable. If it was not variable and we had the same number of lines in the block each time, we could set the option to end after X number of lines in the format rule. In Regexbudy, we can see highlighted in yellow that we are looking for a phrase for server deadlock ID, then a set of numbers and the word detected. In the top section, you can see this time after the word server, we are using a period asterisk rather than a \s, as there are actually multiple white spaces in our log file. We are also using the same period asterisk after the ID to cover the changing numbers of the deadlock. In our deadlock end slide, we can see we are back to the simple \s for white spaces, but you will also notice a \ in front of the trailing period. This is used to escape the period, so it is treated as a literal and not treated as a regular expression. Next, we move on to the watcher setup. In our database logs, there are a lot of deadlock messages, but we only want to send an alarm if there's a deadlock for a particular stored procedure. You can see the leading and trailing / I've added to the regular expression. I have also set this alarm to be a level of major. Here in Regexbudy, in the lower window, we have put the full deadlock message to test against, but we are only showing the section that we are trying to match on currently. We can see in the regular expression section, again we are using the \s to handle white spaces, and to capture the rest of the line after the stored procedure name, we're using the period asterisk, as we will want this detail in the alarm message itself. We have created a variable for use in our alarm called SQL text. We have checked the option to have the variable match the expression in our watcher profile. This will grab everything in the log file on the matching criteria line that matches our expression because of the way the expression was designed with the period asterisk in it. For this example, it is not required that on the Advanced tab we set the restrict to format definition. However, it is considered best practice to set this even in simple cases where the format block is used. By setting this, you will be making sure you are not generating alarms for information outside the block of information you have selected. Next, we can test the setup using the Logmon built-in test tool. Here we can see the matches found in our test log. Here we can see the alarm is being generated as expected, and the full line from the log files in the alarm message as desired. The next step is to change the mode to update instead of cat so that the profile will check for new information. Next, we changed the file name to use a regex statement so that we could access all of the files that meet the matching criteria in the directory structure. We then need to set the update interval to be every 5 minutes. We also set the file read position to initially read from the end of the file and then from the last read position. One thing to note, when using a regular expression in the file name, you do not use the leading and trailing forward slashes. As you can see, these are not present in the file location box above. In order to create the regex needed for the file location field, I created a directory listing of the files I wanted to match and put that in the lower section of the Regexbudy tool. For each backslash in the path statement, we have to do a double backslash to properly escape these values. This will ensure that the values are treated as literal values and not regex commands. Currently, we have 3 database instance directories differentiated by numbers in the directory name. To properly capture this condition, we did an open bracket 0-9, then closed bracket. This will accommodate any new database instance that is created that follows the same format, so we do not have to change the Logmon profile to capture it. Our log file name has a 3-letter prefix, so we did an open bracket, then the letter A-Z, end bracket. We then added an open curly bracket 3 end curly bracket. This combination tells the probe that there will be 3 characters in a row that can be the letter A through Z. In this case, they will be required to be lowercase. The file name also has a different number per database, so we added an open bracket 0-9 end bracket with an open curly bracket 2 end curly bracket. This tells the probe to allow a 2-digit number when looking at the end of the file name. We can see in the lower screen that all 3 file names have been totally matched by our regex statement. After we apply and restart the probe, we can then see the alarms are generated when the matches are found in the different log files. In the screenshot, I've highlighted the log names, and we can tell that these files are being read at the same time by one profile. In this use case, we set up Logmon profile to monitor multiple log files in different directories using a regular expression in the file name field. We set up a format block to capture and separate the information we are looking for that was on multiple lines. We then set up a variable for display in the alarm. Thank you for watching the Use Case 2 for Logmon Probe training for UIM admins. Do not miss the additional material in this training series. For more detailed information about this product, click the information bubble in the top right corner to load the product page. From there, you can visit product documentation, support, communities, and see the learning paths for the UIM product.